Hey guys, it's Jimmy from Kids Opinion, and today I'm going to be talking about the new movie that just came out yesterday, Those Who Wish Me Dead. So this was a Taylor Sheridan film, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, that I was very excited for because I like the two of his movies that I've seen before, Sakara, which I thought was okay, and Hell or High Water, which I was actually which I was actually a fan of. I was very excited for this, and let's talk about it. So first of all, let's start with the good. And the cinematography is amazing in this movie. You can just see that, like, I don't think this was CGI, honestly, because like the fires look good, whether it's the flashbacks, everything just looked amazing in this movie. It looked real, and it's almost like a world you want to be in. Like, I loved the atmosphere in this movie. The crafting of it's not like this world like a sci-fi movie, but the crafting of like this country, it kind of ties in with the atmosphere, and also so interested in what was going to happen. It was like a smaller scale story, but you're interested in what's going to happen with this deputy. How is it going to tie in with Angelina Jolie's character? What's going to happen with these two assassins? I will say I will be including spoilers in this. Spoilers, I should have said this at the beginning. This review will include spoilers. So you want to know what is going to happen at the end. You are very interested. And that is because of how this movie is crafted early on. Also, the intensity in this movie. There are certain scenes, like there's a specific scene where the wife of the deputy has like, I think, like a gun to her head. Um, by the, it might be a gun to her head. Yeah, by the one of the assassins, and you're like scared of what's gonna happen because she's been developed as like kind of a nice character that you care about, and the assassins are kind of shown to be already ruthless as they already is point blank shot this girl driving in a car earlier um in the movie. So you won't be surprised if she died, and that is how the movie is so intense, because it's almost like nobody is really safe in this movie. Anything can happen, and that's usually how it is in Taylor Sheridan films. They usually show at some point in the movie that anyone can die. There isn't like, just because they're a main character, just because they're a famous face, that doesn't mean they're gonna live. Nobody has that like special thing on them. Also, the first half of this movie, I was a big fan of. The crafting kind of ties in. You really wanted to know what was going to happen next. I think I paused the movie halfway to, like, get a snack, and I was, like, so excited to know what was going to happen, and I was hoping that the second half of the movie was going to live up, because I guess that first half was just really, really interesting and cool. Also, the performances in this movie were good. Angelina Jolie, sometimes she is not quite PTSD. It's kind of like PTSD of how she wasn't able to save people in the past. And there's just some really good performance in here, in this movie. Whether it's like, I feel like the assassins were in this movie, they were almost like brutal. They're not like Arnold Schwarzenegger type of character, like in Terminator, where they're just stone faced. No, they like feel pain and they have emotions. Like at one point, one of the assassins stays back because he wants to kill this person because the deputy's wife, because she burned his face early in the movie. So like, yes, they're evil, but they also like have certain emotions which can make them make mistakes or have flaws in their plans. Um, in the violence in this movie is also something that's pretty good. Taylor Sheridan, the violence that he has in his movies is cool because it's not like Fast and Furious or just like or like RoboCop. I was trying to think of like the most violent movie I've seen. RoboCop or Braveheart, just like movies that are violent like that. But this movie has like cool violence, not like super cringy blood effects. It is good blood effects, but it's not overdone when it happens. It's interesting and it's almost brutal in a sense. And as much as I like cool blockbuster spectacle movies, I also really like these smaller, more brutal, gritty action movies that are like in the country. Yeah. Um, and here we now unfortunately have to move on to the mixed aspects of this movie. the final act is unfortunately a mixed aspect for me, because I just don't feel like the payoff was perfect at times. I wanted to see more. I know Taylor Sheridan movies sometimes has stuff where they don't really leave you with too much. Like, spoiler alert for the movie Hell or High Water. It leads up to the two main characters that are on opposite sides. They don't shoot each other. It's implied that they are gonna like fight, but it isn't shown. And I was like okay with that. I just feel like in this movie the two assassins did die. That did happen in Those Who Wish Me Dead, this movie. But I just felt like it wasn't as good. Like, you didn't like these characters. One of them did get burned alive, which was cool. But you kind of wanted to see, like, the kid kill them, or something like that. Because he did have somebody affected by, like, he saw his dad get murdered by these two. He wanted revenge. There should have been more payoff, and I kind of feel like the final act of this movie was a little bit underwhelming. Though it did have some cool action scenes. I wish it would have had some more with the fire. I did like how Nicholas Holt's character was burned. It was a pretty cool and like gritty, almost hard to watch scene. But who was like a bad guy, and you're almost like, that's kind of what he deserved. Now let's move on to the bad. The Angelina Jolie payoff. Sorry, should have said no Angelina Jolie payoff, because there wasn't really much payoff with her character. Technically, she had to get saved by a 12-year-old boy, which I didn't like. I think, is that what happened? Yeah, I think she ended up getting saved by the boy. And I just didn't feel like her character had enough to do in the movie. That even though she gave a good performance, her character wasn't like interesting to me enough. Therefore, her payoff at the end just wasn't that good of itself. She didn't have like some really cool moment where she's like hanging off of a tree and fires below, and she like flips around and kicks the guy off. She didn't really have like an alpha moment or something like that. She kind of got saved by a 12-year-old boy and then was lucky to get away. And the final thing is a plot hole that I noticed, and then my dad and my brother noticed as I was watching it with them. It's kind of like a water plot line, I would say. So the kid has a note in his pocket with all these secrets in there about like a case that his dad was working on, and it will put some bad people, I'm guessing, in jail and make some good people happy or free. The details on it are vague, which is fine, but he has it in his pocket, and then Angelina Jolie tells him to like go hide in the water. I'm like, okay, maybe she was just being like, I was kind of confused. I'm like, are they completely forgetting about this? And then the kid doesn't go into the water, which makes sense. He stays back. So I was like, okay, so maybe he's doing because he didn't want to go into the water. And then at the end, they jump into the water. I'm like, did they completely forget? I feel like the kid would have been smarter and like, or maybe stupider, I guess you could say, more stupid, and wanted to fulfill his dad's dying wish instead of staying alive. I feel like something like that shouldn't have happened. I didn't like how the characters were kind of, it almost felt like they didn't even mention that the note would have been destroyed. Even if the kid could have said something like, no, the note's gonna get destroyed, and she's like, all that, and if Angelina Jolie's character would have said, I think her name was Hannah, she just would have said, all that matters is you staying alive, or something like that. That would have made more sense, but they didn't even remember that. One more thing I want to say about this movie before finishing, because I was just remembering it while I was doing this review. The atmosphere is just amazing. I love like the country atmosphere with it. I just really liked it, and I hope that Taylor Sheridan keeps making more movies like this. So I did like it. I recommend if you watch it, if you like these kind of movies, or if you want to explore a new genre. I would give this movie an 8.3 out of 10. So yes, please like and subscribe. Give me comments in the comment section. Please give me suggestions on how to improve my channel. Please give me recommendations of movies and TV shows to talk about, rank, review. I'm Jimmy from Kids Opinion, and be good people.